Welcome to Off Topic but On Point. I'm Adair Beer, and here we embrace the unscripted, the unconventional, and dare I say it, the unexpected. Because sometimes the best breakthroughs happen when you go off topic. Each episode, we dive into business, leadership, and life, exploring the moments that challenge us, shape us, and push us forward. So, whether we're tackling entrepreneurship, collaboration, mindset, or even navigating resistance, one thing's for sure, we'll always bring it back to what matters. So get ready for candid perspectives, thoughtful insights that will keep you engaged, inspired, and maybe a little bit uncomfortable in the best possible way. As usual, I have with me my beautiful friends, Dr. Janine de Cabo, also known as the Intentionalist, and Pastor Christo Pretorius, the Expander. Let's go.
Welcome back to Off Topic and On Point, where the script is totally optional and the inside is very intentional. And I can tell you that the growth is guaranteed. And this episode is going to hit close to home, and maybe for you as well, because we're talking about something that too many leaders are ignoring until it's too late, and that's their body. You can't lead with clarity if you're living in chaos, and your body is often the first place where chaos shows up. So we're going today to look at the power of our physical strength, and not as a I want to look pretty or strong kind of way or an aesthetic way, but for mental resilience, for our emotional regulation, as well as sustainable leadership. These things are important and much needed. So I'm asking the real question today. Can you really lead others if you're not leading yourself properly or physically? So let's talk about the connection between our physical discipline and then high performance leadership. You don't maybe need more caffeine, maybe you just need more capacity. And I'll just be honest, I've tried most of the types of exercise and I really don't like running. That's where most people always told me to get started. I forced myself to like it because everyone said that this was good for me. But it never made me really feel powerful. In actual fact, it made me feel so punished. And then I found something called cycling and weight training and movement. And movement actually just became medicine for me. And it mirrored something that was much more deeper and much more spiritual. And if I could push through the physical resistance, then I realized that I can push through anything. So mental resilience for me is built on the reps that no one is seeing. And with that, I want to introduce again Pastor C and Odette, and I'm going to ask them some questions as well in light of this topic. So yes, Odette, you always speak about alignment, but when it comes to what role has movement or physical strength played in helping you to regulate emotions as well as to stay aligned during hard seasons?
I love that question. I love that question because I have a thing that I say to everybody who's around me, and that motion manages emotion. So what does that mean? It means that
I like that.
if you are stressed, if you feel overwhelmed, you need to move. So I am obviously an advocate for movement. I'm an advocate getting up, not making decisions in the moment. And I learned the hard way actually this year how important it is for me. Earlier this year, Pastor C, I don't know if you recall, you asked me one day, how are you? And I said, geez, I've been sick, so I haven't been to gym in like a month. And I'm just feeling so overwhelmed and I've got heart palpitation. That's actually just because I had not been exercising in my normal routine. Because motion manages emotion. We know that emotions are fickle. And when you move, you create endorphins and dopamine in your brain, and it also helps you unify. And then I also, I like war movies. That sounds rough. I do. I like action shows, like watching the Marines do crazy things. But you've got to ask yourself, how do they do this? And if you start with the why and how, when you want to become a Marine, what's the first thing they do? They punish you. And you see in the movies, they say they're going to break them. It's not that they break them, it's that they create mental conditioning. And there's a thing that Marines and soldiers do. It's called ruck something. It's called a ruck. And a ruck is when you put a heavy weight on your back and you walk with it for long periods of time. And for me, that's exactly what exercise is and how it aligns to business. If you're exercising, we spoke in a previous episode how I push my kids to do long distance running because, like Dr. J, they actually don't enjoy it, but I actually don't care, because you learn endurance, you learn a mental process or a mental thing that allows you to apply to other things. So all skills are transferable. What you learn during exercise, you learn and apply in business and in your leadership.
Yes.
So when they do rucks, they are putting heavy weights on their back so that they can mentally and physically prepare for having to carry a heavy weight. And how awesome is that? Because if you're in business and if you're a leader, you're carrying heavy weights all the time. Now, if you're untrained, or you do it wrong, you can throw out your back, or you get tired, or it just feels like too much. But if you consistently put yourself under controlled pressure, then you don't break under heavy, unexpected pressure. So for me, the alignment comes in when we put ourselves in an environment where there's controlled pressure so that we can handle the unexpected pressure. And Dr. J, I mean, you've been on your intentional journey, I think you said, for something like 10 years now. And I think you can attest to it. There is a difference between acute training. Acute training is one talk, you go and do one thing. And then there's chronic exercise, which I think the three of us do, which is the consistent, love that word, consistent exercise over a long period of time. And that chronic exercise that creates the benefit in the brain, that gives us the mental resilience, that gives us the stamina, that helps us solve problems. Again, if you think about the Marine, they do physical training, they do the ruck walks, and then they do obstacle courses, which is also like business. They do those things, but they do it not because they're going to be running underneath a circular thing. And no, they're preparing mentally for the thing that they may not expect to encounter. And it's the same with business. So you have to put yourself in that uncomfortable position of doing things that you don't want to do, because that's the seat of willpower in the brain, and then learning to push through. Because every time there's a thing, when you're running, for example, or you're cycling and you hit a mental block, you see a way through it, and you realize that if I can push through this physical barrier, and you're in a meeting and there's a difficult conversation to be had, you don't back down because you've learned that you can navigate these things. Your brain has been able to navigate and find strategies and find different ways of getting through stuff. So for me, exercise and leadership and just being able to be a good leader or a good person, or even just a stable, sober-minded person, those things have to happen. And you can't just do it once, you've got to do it consistently.
I agree with you. I like what you say, chronic exercise. And what you said with chronic exercise is the fact that it's slow over a long period of time, and that's when it works. So we should actually be operating in chronic business mode as well, because I see so many people building so fast without foundation. There's no chronic in that. There's no long-term in that. And as quickly as that business built up, that's how quickly it falls, because the word you also use is consistency. There's no consistency in that. And we are all godly entrepreneurs and kingdom entrepreneurs. And with that, I love Proverbs, and Proverbs 10 and 11 and 12 speaks a lot about fleeting riches. And I think if we can apply the chronic principle to our business and running our businesses, we will have long, stable, and successful, but also wealthy businesses. But yet, exercise has got so much to do with business. And the thing that I realized to practically crack the code for me on exercise was do what you like. Do what you enjoy. There's so many forms to do it. You don't have to go to gym to exercise. You don't have to lift weights to think you've done. You don't have to run. You don't have to cycle. But what do you want to do? Maybe for you, it is just walking around the block. I'm telling you now, you start enjoying it because it's something you enjoy. Maybe it's on a Saturday just going for the walk, or we have beautiful places in Joburg, and I'm sure you have the same in Australia, where you can just go for a walk on a Saturday. Maybe it's a hike, but choose something that you like and that you enjoy and that you can do with other people. That's what helped me to really get started again. And I want to say again because I think as a child, even I was very active. I loved sports, and I can't even say that life happened. It was just the phases that I went through. Then I went to university. I think exercise. I was always doing sport, but I was always active and I was always moving. But exercise was the furthest thing from my mind. And that's maybe what I want to teach you this morning is it doesn't have to be exercise. Make it movement. The word is move, do something. And that is related back into my life. And when I had the kids and then eventually the twins. After the twins, I was like, man, okay, this is all done. Now it's my turn for my body again. My body is mine. Here we go. And that's where the journey started. You're right, Odette. It's about 11 years that I made that decision. I'm like consistently. That doesn't mean that I'm up every day, 5 o'clock, going to the gym, clocking in, clocking out. That is not realistic for my lifestyle. But I can do 2, 3, sometimes 4, sometimes even 5. I don't put pressure, but there's one thing is that it's winter and summer. There's no stop. It doesn't matter if it's cold, if wet, it's rain. I don't make that decision. The decision is made the night before. The clothes is out the night before. In the morning when I get up, I don't think about it. It wasn't a debate. It's not a question. The decision is already made. You get up and you need to do what you need to do. So that goes right back to business. So, Pastor C, you always speak about capacity. And what have your physical disciplines helped you? Basically what we said now as well, to stretch mentally and spiritually during intense seasons of your life and leadership.
I think it's that quote Odette used, where, let me just get it here, if you practice in controlled pressure, the unexpected pressure is not going to crack you, it's going to fall under that. And so I think what exercise has done in increasing capacity, in exercise and building mindset, it has helped you to prepare for that unprepared circumstances that comes along. Nobody expects the stock market to crash. Nobody expects, employees to resign. Nobody expects, a global pandemic to just occur, So if you've prepared for it, then, you can manage better through it. And I think what I've seen is discipline, mindset, commitments. I think those are 3 key things that I've seen, throughout my journey, is that, exercise and, building that capacity is, there's a discipline to it. You have to get up, you have to go to the gym, at times when you want to and at times when you don't want to.
Have you ever really wanted to?
There's certain things that you have to. Oh yeah, absolutely. There's been times where I couldn't wait to get up to go to the gym. There's been times where I couldn't wait to go and run, 10K, like for real, I promise you, where there's just something. And the guy that I worked with when I was training for some endurance running, he said this to me. He says, Chris, he says, running's going to become an addiction. It's going to be like a drug. You just want to get more of it, more of it, more of it. And I would remember coming back from a run, I just want to do another run. And then there's been times where I didn't want to go, absolutely, I'm dragging myself, to get my socks, to get my shoes. And, then there's one guy, David Goggins, he runs ridiculous amounts of distances. And I always thought he just does it every day. And then I listened to a video of him where he says that he doesn't want to run probably every single morning. And he sits and he procrastinates for probably 30 to 45 minutes just looking at his shoes. Doesn't want to go. But he tells himself, I have to. So absolutely, there's been times where I didn't want to go. And there's been times where I've absolutely been looking forward to it, more than anything, at that point in my life, maybe it's something to assess and to see the reason for certain things. One thing that I've also realized, and, I haven't been to the gym for a while, and I've realized that I'm very much goal driven. I'm very much challenge driven. I always have these challenges that I put out for myself, and then for the next 90 days, like I'm all out. We eat, sleep, and breathe, this challenge, and we have to complete it. And I'm very rigid in making sure that I do that. And then, for a period of time, I'm not driven towards that. And it's something that I've realized that that's just what feels me. I'm not saying that that's a template for everybody, to go on. When actually last night I told my wife, I should start another challenge. So just took her head because that's not her. She would rather just go on a maintenance phase and, go religiously every day and, do a 45-minute, exercise. That's maybe not as challenging, but, she builds the reps and she's got the consistency. The biggest thing that I can maybe help people with is that you have to run the race that is set before you. You mentioned it, like find something that you love. Earlier in this year, I was in the gym doing weights and there was this big guy, like not just muscle big. He's physically a big person, and he was picking up these heavy weights, but there was even more, heavier weights. And I said to him, those are probably your type of weights. And he held the weights in his hand and he looked at me. And what he said next, absolutely, like he bowled me out. It just completely stumped me. This big guy, training hard. He said this to me. He says, I'm not here to pick up heavy weights. I'm here to train my body. Yeah. I'm not here to pick up heavy weights. I'm here to train my body. Yeah. And when he said that, it just hit me because like being a man, being in the gym, doing weights, it's always like pushing yourself and go harder. And how much can I bench press? And how much do you arm curl? And like, how much do you squat? And can you leg press? Whatever, hundreds of kilograms. And when he said that, I realized it's all about your goal, your motivation, the purpose you have, and run the race that is set before you. Paul writes, I actually want to read that scripture in Hebrews 12. He says the following in Hebrews 12, verse number 2, or the B part of verse number 1. He says, run with endurance the race that is set before you, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross. Think about that. For the joy that was set before him endured the cross. So how is it that you can do strenuous exercises and enjoy it? It's because you understand it's part of your purpose. It's part of what. And so in building that capacity, something that is even more prevalent that I've realized is I am motivated in different things. I've never been a gym person in the sense of that's what I do. That's like my thing. Every single day I have to go to the gym. It's not. I'm more of a, I get these challenges. I train hard for them. I achieve my goal. And, then I take a break. I recess. I look at something else. And I go for it, It's not going to work for me to, try and commit for, the next 7 years to go to the gym, 5 times a week. But there are other areas that I have managed to have that type of consistency. And that's just in healthy living, healthy eating. 3 years ago, I made a decision to cut out all fizzy drinks, all processed juice, I drink water and black coffee, and now and then we'll have a cappuccino. But that's it for 3 years now. No soft drinks at all, nothing in a bottle. If it's not freshly squeezed juice, on site, I'll just have a glass of water. And that's something I've been doing consistently. We eating clean and healthy, consistently. When I'm not training very hard, I'm very focused on what we're eating, what you put into your body, to at least maintain, that type of weight and health and, clarity of mind. You don't overindulge in certain things. And so I think it's important for people to realize who you are, where you're at, and not everything's going to work for you. I can definitely tell you that running has changed a big part of my life. Absolutely. And I thought it never would because I didn't enjoy running at all at school. And so you saying that you've never really enjoyed it, it's interesting because I had a similar perspective and then it changed. But it once again shows you that every single person is different. And the greatest advice I can give you is to find what it is that fuels you, that motivates you, that de-stresses you. Like my body type, my blood type, my muscle fiber, it tends to do heavy weight training for stress relief. And so I know that, whenever I'm stressed, it's like I just got to get and pick up some heavy weights. I can go run a marathon, it's going to do nothing for me. I have to pick up heavy weights. So it's to know your body, know yourself, know your limitations, and then, play
What does your
within
body
that realm.
normally tell you before burnout hits? Odette, you can definitely answer on this as well.
No, for me, it's just when I have like a, consistent like type of flu symptoms, sore throat, runny nose, those type of things. For me, it's like a good indication, like, okay, my body, I need to get to exercise, or I just need to slow down a bit, check what I'm doing, And then another big trigger for me is what's the right word? Is it reflux, or is it just my stomach acid? I can just feel like this stress feeling. That's maybe the best way to explain it. Like the stress feeling within my stomach. I'm just like, I'm feeling like waking up and I'm telling my wife, like, it feels like I'm stressing about something, but there's nothing happening. Like I can't put my finger on it. And when that persists for like more than a day or 2-3 days, then I know, okay, great. There's something going on inside of me that I'm not aware of. And so, once again, then we
need to get
reassess
it
and
out.
we realign.
I think I felt like that on Friday. I was like, I know something's not right. I'm extremely tired. I have been doing the stuff that I need to do, but I'm not feeling better. And I was like, Saturday, I'm going to the gym. And everybody was like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I just want to go sauna. I just want to get whatever out. I want to run till I can't run anymore. I want to lift till I can't lift anymore. And then I want to go sit in that sauna and until there's almost nothing left. And then when I get back, let's see if anything's changed. And I was like, man, that was the best decision I made this entire week, or that entire week. It's like you were saying, the flu-y symptoms, all that stuff, the extreme exhaustion. I was like asking myself, is this burnout? I mean, you speak about this, you do all the stuff, like, why are you on the edge here? What's happening? And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But what matters more for me is that I recognized it and I did something about it. And now I'm not this week. I don't go into the place of, oh man, I'm so tired. You know what? I can't do gym today. I just honestly don't allow myself to do that. There's certain excuses I just don't accept. Not only for me, for my family as well. They know. There's certain things like, oh guys, sorry. Oh, sorry, it wasn't a suggestion. This is what we're gonna do, And they just as surprised as I am every time I say that. But that's just how we roll here. There's certain things that that's okay. You'll feel better just now. Go make a tea and get up an auto and let's go to that class anyway. It's just going to be good. And yeah, so Odette, how does it affect you? How do you see the effects of burnout?
Before I answer that
what
question,
does your body tell you?
Pastor C, while you were talking, rewind. And Jesus looked through the cross and saw the joy set before him. He looked through, he saw the cross, didn't pay attention to it, paid attention to the joy after the cross,
Sure.
and therefore endured the cross. So he saw the joy, he didn't see the cross.
Yeah.
And the same, if we had to translate it back to the exercise principle, people don't exercise because it's hard, because, I don't know, they stiffed, they sore, whatever, insert whatever your excuse is why you're not exercising. But if you look past it at what's on the other end of it, you'll push through it. Because on the other end of it is dopamine in your brain, is a stronger body to carry your purpose. Like, one of the things I've realized is that we all have a responsibility. And when exercise is not something you have to do, it's something you get to do. And that's a mind shift. But actually, it's your responsibility. If you believe that you are here for purpose, on purpose, and that God set before you whatever this thing is, the joy that's set before you, what that looks like for you, then it's your responsibility to get there. Realistically, you cannot get there if you don't service the asset that needs to get you there. The asset or vehicle is your body. And servicing it requires paying attention to what you eat, moving, drinking lots of water, insert the things you need to do to get you there. If our responsibility is to fulfill our purpose, then it also is our responsibility to look after the vehicle or the asset that gets you there. Otherwise, you will stop short and you won't finish. And then you've sinned, actually, because sin is missing the mark. So then you've sinned. You didn't have to go smoking to sin. You didn't have to go drinking to sin. You sinned because you fell short, because you didn't take responsibility of the one thing. You had one job. We've had that conversation as well. In terms of the question, what does my body tell me? Like you experience fatigue. I'll feel like I'm tired. When I'm stressed or burned out, I carry tension in my back, in my shoulders, and I know immediately when that happens. And that's why motion manages emotion. It doesn't have to be a big event. Like Saturday morning, you were like, okay, guys, I'm running until I can't. It doesn't have to be that way, because sometimes we just can't do that, right? It can be as simple as just going for a walk. That's not strenuous, but the important thing about the walk is that you're moving, but that you're also paying attention to what's around you, being present in the moment. Smell the cold air, listen to the birds chirping, see the beautiful trees, look at the sky. How is it different today versus what it was yesterday? There's lots of traffic today versus maybe there isn't lots of traffic today. But it's about being present in the moment, and it's the movement and your presence that clears your mind so that you can think. Studies have shown that when we exercise, our mental cognitive ability and memory is better after the exercise. Now, the cool thing about running, Dr. J, is that exercise, running, cardio, works while you sleep. So when you do those things in the morning or in the day, tonight when you go to bed, your body continues to burn the fat and the things and build muscle and all those things. That's like really, really cool, right? That's brilliant. But the same is true for your brain, because when you're exercising, you're releasing the toxins in your brain that's like causing the fight or flight responses. If you're stressed and you're burning out, it's because if this is your brain, this is your reptilian brain, and this is your reasoning part, when we're stressed, this happens. So now there's no connection between reasoning and moving. So you freak out, you're like fight, flight, or freeze, you can't think straight. But when you exercise, you slow this process because you're letting go of the toxins, you're letting go of the things that's causing you to flip a lid, and you can think clearly. So once you've exercised, you've gotten rid of all that stuff. Now you can be like, oh, I need to do that, this strategy, that decision, that thing. You'll find actually that when you exercise afterwards, you're like, oh, this problem that I had, it's solved. That thing that I needed to go figure out, I know how to do it. And that's why many high-performing executives don't compromise on exercise, because the mental benefit of exercise far outweighs the time it takes in your diary or the physical, okay, now I'm stiff, now I'm so what? You perform so much better when you do that. Yes.
So what? You start to thrive on that,
did a
right?
Good job.
I'm like, ooh,
Exactly.
that was good. Like I feel my legs tonight. They all tingly. Exactly. I love how you say you smell the cold. I remember because the cycling is what I enjoy. And I remember cycling past the houses early in the morning and I would smell, oh, that's brute. Oh, that guy uses fire and ice. Oh, that woman's got nice perfume. I don't know why you smell it on the outside in the street, but you do.
Have you smelled someone's stay
that
soft?
guy didn't get up or he
You
didn't use
can
his
smell one
deodorant
stay
today.
soft there.
Yeah. Yes. You know, it's the weirdest thing. And I'm just driving past their house in the morning. And then I'm like, so it was funny when you said, like, smell the cold. Because I do smell the cold. I smell the perfume. I smell the stay soft. I'm like, oh, are we there again? It's so weird how that actually puts anchors in your brain. That was a good exercise. Oh, I went past there today. And it triggers things. It's that problem solving. I love the cardio. You're 100% right. It also helps me to sleep better. Because most of the things are actually solved, my mind is at rest, my body is at rest, and I'm like, I could do that. And something you said about a boardroom, I was listening to a podcast, and I'm not going to say which one it is because maybe what he said is not so nice, but it's so true. He says, who do you trust more? The fat guy, and he said it like that, the fat guy walking into the boardroom or the guy walking into the boardroom with the muscles.
When my mom,
He's like, who do you trust more? And
no,
I'm
no,
like,
when my mom
shucks.
worked for
That was simple.
investing,
Ooh, that's
Interesting perspective. I'm just reminded of was it Patrick Bet David? One of these podcast guys. They were speaking about Jeff Bezos on his yacht, and he's ripped, he's cut, he's tanned. And then they showed a picture of Elon Musk, you know. It was a white. But he made the statement, he says, if you're a shareholder of the company, which one do you want to be the CEO? The one that never sees daylight because he's grinding and he's working to make you profit, or the guy that's, have time to be on a yacht? Now, just a, off topic on point. At the end of the day, the point I want to make here is I do agree that there is this element where you have to take care of your own body. You have to eat yourself, first of all. I think it's Elliot Army, nobody can work for him unless they have a six-pack. Like, that's just a rule within his companies. I think he's the number one sales trainer in the world, Elliot Army. And yeah, that's his rule. And I think it's great, but I also think it's great if you don't have a six-pack, but you do exercise and you do eat well and you focus on other things, those things are good as well. There's two things that I've realized that has really shifted in my life when it comes to exercise. The first thing you were speaking earlier, Dr. Janine, about, you can feel your legs. It was a tough variety, was a good exercise. And it's realizing that every time you train hard and, you're stiff the next day, or you're sore the next day, it's because your muscles has got these little small like tears within them. As you stretch them, they tear. And, as they repair, then obviously, muscle grow and it strengthens. That was the first thing that I realized that was quite cool, is that, okay, it's actually good to be sore. Because, you're pushing your body. The other thing is my brother, myself, Jock, one of my brothers, many years ago, we were like big into the gym and like supplements and, we're training hard. And we would always, feel this burn. And when that burn comes, you're like, I can't take it anymore. And you would stop, because like, hey, it's burning. And then I read that sensation or that burn, it's actually growth hormone that's being released within your body to help and assist and to obviously now grow and become bigger and stronger. And then after reading it, and they, the book that I was reading, they encourage you to try and push through as much as possible, because now as much growth hormones being released within your body, we would exercise till that burn comes, and we would shout to one another, GH is coming, GH is coming. And just the mental shift. And you would push for 2 or 3 or 4 more reps, where a month ago you would stop, you would caution, because like, what if I get hurt? This is an indication that, I should stop, I should go slower. Knowing your body, knowing what you are doing, that's, I think, the difference between, just being a conservative and a recreational, person exercising, and somebody that wants to compete at the higher level. And as I did spoke about, how CEOs and executives, they thrive on exercise because they understand, the performance element, to that. And so I would encourage people is that, what's your goal? Like, what is the thing that you want to do, what you want to achieve? You got to start where you're at. Very important. And then you got to get a coach or get a trainer. Years ago when I just did my 40-day fast, 40 days, or the day after the 40-day fast, I made a decision that in 40 days I'm going to do the warrior race. Lost like 20% of my body weight, I think, something like that, 18 or 19%. I mean, I was like, you guys remember, I was down to a size 20 pants. I normally wear a 34. Just nothing, no muscle, like, yeah. And in 40 days, I want to do the warrior race. But the first thing that I did is I'm going to get a coach. I'm going to get a trainer. So I got a personal trainer that helped me for 40 days. And I think it's key and it's crucial because he's going to push you, but he's not going to push you over the edge. Where your body and your mind tells you, I can't go any further, you're probably halfway there. There's more that you can do. And so, start where you're at, get a plan. What is it that you want to achieve? And then get a coach, get somebody that has been there, that can help you, that can, push you beyond your natural limitation. Finally, I had a coach in high school, Mr. Durant. He was our rugby coach. Yes, and he would drill us. Like, we would do like a hard exercise. We would run hills, and, at the end of every exercise, and we would like literally lay on the grass. Some people were vomiting. It was just like you would give it your all. And we would say, but coach, we're playing on Saturday. He says, I'll never forget these words. He says, the human body is an incredible machine. He says, tomorrow morning, you'll be good to go again. And as true as the sun is shining every morning, the next day, you got energy again. You can go, and your body's an incredible machine. If you can learn how to use it and listen to it and push it, man, you'll be a high performer.
I was
Absolutely.
on the weekend, my son had a friend here, and they're only 11. And at some point I was like, I didn't hear the games. They were playing games in the room. Then they were outside playing hockey. And I'm like, I don't hear the sticks. I don't hear the games. And I'm like, where are they? Oh, no, they're by their TV. So when I went into the lounge, I was like, oh, they're actually in the gym. So they're teaching each other how to lift the weights and how to do the stuff. And my son is going and he's doing the arm curls and he's doing that. And I'm like, sure, dude, that was enough. He's like, no. It's not burning yet. It's not burning yet. So when you said that, I was reminded of that. And I said to him, I said to him, what happens if it burns? Only then it's working. Only then it's working. He was going like that. I said, and I walked out and I turned back and I said, remember in exam. Remember in exam. When it's burning and you don't want to do it, it hasn't burned yet, you haven't started yet, it's not working. And he was like, really? And he just dropped the weights and he was like, I'm done. And that was the funniest thing. He's like, he made that connection and he was like, oh shucks. And it was like, if we can just make that connection from our body to our mind, into our workplace, into our leadership, it translates into something better. It translates into something bigger. And yes, your kids see it. I never taught my son to go gym on a Sunday afternoon with his friend. He sees it and he's like, okay, they're doing something. Oh, it's changing something. Man, I feel good afterwards. Why am I not trying this? Like I said, they could have still be playing Fortnite or one of those games, but I mean, they chose to go into the gym on a Sunday. That for me is ridiculous. It translates into something, not just for you, not just for your team, but for the people around you. Odette, how does your workout routine, I'm not sure exactly what you do. I think you are somebody that does cardio and weights mixed, right? How does that routine mirror the way you make decisions or then solve problems?
Right. And I like variety. So variety in exercise, variety in food, variety in how we solve things. How I did one thing doesn't mean that I do all things like that. Pastor C, I remember you saying once, someone said how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that's actually not true. And I thought about it and I was like, he's right. Because actually, I don't always solve one problem the same way because there are multiple ways. And also, I like rhythm. I speak about rhythm a lot. There has to be, for me at least, there has to be a rhythm. Why does there need to be a rhythm? Because rhythms create grooves. Your brain, like life is created around rhythms and grooves. If you think about your brain and the neurons, the connections happen when it happens consistently so that you shortcut the process, right? So there's a rhythm in exercise. There's a rhythm in business. And I understand that there are some things that you can't build a rhythm around. However, there are things that you can build a rhythm around. So for me, exercise looks like on a Monday, it's legs. On a Tuesday, it's arms. On a Wednesday, it's running. And on a Thursday, it's full body. And then on a Friday, it's like I show up because anything is better than nothing. And maybe I just stretch today, but I'm doing something, right? Because we have to, I believe in consistency. But consistency doesn't mean that I have to go and push weight and stuff every single day. Consistency means that I show up and that I move. And the same is true for my business. In terms of business, there's got to be a rhythm. If you have to start the whole time, it takes more time to get going every single time. Whereas if you've got a rhythm of selling systems, or you've got a rhythm of meeting with your team to build culture, or you've got a rhythm of connecting with people, then it happens almost automatically. Automatically implies that you didn't think of it. Rhythm implies that you thought about it, you've put the structures in place, and it's happening. So I'm not on autopilot, but I have put the structures around me so that it happens. Like you said, Dr. J, I do exactly the same thing. My clothes are in the bathroom the night before. So tomorrow morning, I wake up in the dark and I put on my clothes, sometimes in the dark, which sometimes mean that you get to gym and you've got a tag because you've got your shirt on. No, Chris. Well, we get this girl at like 6 in the morning. Nobody. It's fine because I've got a rhythm, right? I walk out the door and before I can even tell myself that I'm tired or that I don't feel like it, I'm already at the gym, walking on the treadmill, getting ready for the next thing. And that's the same with business. If you create a rhythm in your business, you create a rhythm in your team that allows for variety, right? And I understand that this is not the same for everyone. I understand that I am quite unique in that I seek out variety. All my jobs I've ever had in my entire life in corporate has been jobs that does this. It's not that I can't do this. This is not me. This is a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. Mondays are different to Tuesdays. Wednesdays are different to Thursdays. They're different, but they have a rhythm. And the rhythm is, let's plan for the day. What's the planning for the day? What's the planning for the week? What's the outcome? What's the this? What's the that? And then we fall into that rhythm of building culture, of connecting with people, of showing up when it's hard, of having conversations. It's about the rhythm and the variety for me. To answer your question.
It absolutely does. And I want to take it all together as we 3 people in a room. We all do it differently. We all do it at different times, at different rhythms, in different paces, in different sets, and different weights, but we are doing it. So what do you need to find to help you to get to move? And I just couldn't let us leave without an acronym today. So I made one for MOVE, get to move. And it's so funny what you were saying because I thought about it during the week and now what we're saying is exactly it. So if we move, we have to make it joyful. So the M is make it joyful. You have to enjoy what you are doing. And enjoy it even if it's hard. Even if it's hard, just enjoy it. Does it challenge you without crushing you? But enjoy it, you know. You will leave clearer. You will not just leave sweatier. You will leave clearer too. So move and make it joyful. The O is for own your rhythm, Odette. You have to own your rhythm. I remember when I started running, like I said, I really didn't enjoy it. My sister-in-law loves running. She's really good at it, actually. She runs on the farm, there in the hills of Nelspruit, and it's so beautiful. And I remember running with her the one day. I just remember it because I think it was a near-death experience. You know, it was really, like, tough. I didn't enjoy it. And all I remember is she kept telling me, is like, find your rhythm, sis. Find your rhythm. You need to, running has got a rhythm. Find your rhythm. So when I did that, I was like, oh, this is my rhythm. I can't run like Jill. First of all, I take smaller steps and I'm shorter, so it looks funny if I take those big steps the way he does. So I needed to find my rhythm. And once I found my rhythm, I realized again, exactly, translating what you said, Odette, there's a rhythm in everything. So the O is own your rhythm. The V is for move, is to view it as mindset training. It's not just your body. You're also training your mind. You're building resilience. You're breaking through barriers that you never thought you could achieve, and you're breaking through barriers that you never thought there was even there. So when the same happens in the workplace area, you are able to break through. You are able to cross over. You are able to push through because you've got that discipline. So it's not just your body that's training. See it or view it as mindset training. And then the E is energize yourself every day. energize yourself every day. I'm not saying exercise every day. I'm not saying go to gym every day. I'm just saying find the thing that you love and that you enjoy, because it's going to energize you. It's going to give you that energy that you need. Pastor C, I like what you said. You don't need a six pack, but you do need the stamina to carry what is coming. And that's what is going to help you with exercise routine, discipline. You need the stamina. That is what you're busy. That's what you are busy building. And I don't want anyone to hear today, we're telling you, go to the gym. We're not saying that at all. We're saying find something that you like, that makes you move, that builds that strength, that builds that stamina. Fitness is for me not about the aesthetics about it always. It's about the access, what you have access to, what you can enjoy, the energy, the vision, the clarity. You don't even have to pay for most of the stuff. And the other half you can just do at home. So it's not always something you pay for. Pastor C, you want to say something?
That's not just, it's true what you say. You don't have to pay for it. I mean, it's free to go for a walk. But if you're going to start running, the tackies and the gear.
Yeah, it's like you always
money.
say, when we go into the specifics of
But this-
things, then it becomes very costly, the technical side
Yeah.
of things.
But no, I mean, just doing breath work, just taking deep breaths, like 10, 20 of them, going out, get some sunlight in the morning, getting your feet on the grass, I think Gary Brecker speaks about earthing yourself. What happens within your body when your feet hits the ground, the soil, because we walk in shoes all day and we live inside. And so, I mean, those are just three things that are cheap, that are free, and we sometimes miss that. It's the small things that we miss, because we don't have access to a gym. We don't have access to, Olympic-sized swimming pool. We don't have access to a track. We don't have access to hills and mountains to ride your mountain bike. You can start by just taking a walk, getting outside, taking a deep breath, like you said earlier, stop and smell the roses. Those are fundamental things that you can start doing. What's nice about, I've got an Apple Watch, and so every hour on the hour, it tells me it's time to stand. I need to reach my stand goal. And so just for 1 minute, just stand up. And just small things like that, because you are in a meeting on Zoom, you're busy, you're running, you're doing things, and you forget those elementary things. It's the easiest thing just to buy takeaways and not back lunch for you, because we're so busy and we're running around. So, I mean, like, we try and do meal prep, which helps. Like, I mean, on a Sunday, I would just cook some chicken breasts for the week. And so it's in the freezer. And so whenever, we like, oh, shucks, we never prepared food. It's like, okay, we can do a quick, wrap with chicken. We can do a chicken salad. We can do chicken and vegetables, or fair enough, you want to go and eat out. But I mean, just there's small things, like you said, that doesn't cost anything, that you can do to get you on this journey of, I like what you're saying, this word about movement. And I think that's maybe a better framework, is to get moving. Because once you move, you'll start, if you're like me, you want to challenge yourself, you'll start exercising and you'll start going to the gym and you'll do challenges. But if you're like my wife or somebody that just wants to maintain, you'll just keep on doing that. I think that, like, Weight Watchers and those, Walk for Life, those type of groups, I think it's incredible. People have been doing that for decades, and they're not marathon runners and they're not, gym junkies, but they found community.
Yeah.
They live healthy or healthier.
And
I think great.
And most
Find
of the
the things
people
that
are
are
stuck
free.
on, I can't afford it, I can't go to gym, I can't get a trainer. And it's like, that's your barrier you have to overcome. You can go and walk, you can get an accountability partner, get a friend that's just going to do it with you. It's not going to cost you anything but your time and your attention and discipline that's going to go with that. And let's leave our listeners with one powerful question. Instead of a statement today, but a powerful question that they can reflect on this week when it comes to movement. And for me, it would be where in your body have you abandoned strength? And what's the small act that you can take this week to take back the strength that you've lost? Where have you abandoned strength maybe it's in your body. Maybe you realize, oh gosh, actually, it's not my body, it's my mind, it's my thinking. Where have you abandoned strength in your life? Where has stress taken over? And what is one thing that you can do this week to take back that in your life?
I think it's a great question. Mine would probably continue on the latter end of yours about mind. It's like, what can you do to declutter your mind or your thinking? What can you do to declutter your mind
I have
and your
a
thinking?
a
What can you
threefold,
focus on?
twofold,
Because where
I'm
the attention
cheating
goes, the power flows.
because I can. Question. The first is, if you can't keep the promises you make to yourself, like moving your body daily. Moving your body daily, I didn't say go to gym. Why should anyone trust you to keep your promises to them? And the second question is, when was the last time you deliberately put yourself under controlled stress, whether it be physical or mental, just to build the capacity for real pressure of life and business?
You don't become
Like-
strong by accident. You become strong by alignment. There's that word again, alignment, action, and consistency. That's how we become strong in body, soul, and mind. All those things. It's threefold for me. 3-stranded cord is not easily broken. So it's threefold for me. Your body isn't just carrying life, it's also carrying purpose. And you were speaking earlier, Odette, and let me close with that if you're going on a journey and you have the suit, this is our transport. Would you want to go there in a Lamborghini or an entry-level car? It's simple answer for me is like, I need to build this transport system so that it can operate like a Lamborghini and not an entry-level car. And I'm going to treat my body and my mind and my soul like that because I am on this journey and I need to get there fast. I need to get there strong and in good condition. So you don't need more tips. You need more truth. There were so many truth bombs that was left here on the table today. Use them, make them your own. And then until next time, stay intentional, stay in your rhythm, and don't forget to move with purpose.
Well, that's a wrap for today. But don't let the conversation stop here. This only matters if you do something with it. So here's my challenge. Take one thing you heard today and put it into action before this week is over. And when you do, tell me about it. Send me a message, tag me on LinkedIn, send me a comment, pop us an email. I'd love to hear what shifted for you. If this episode sparked something, share it with someone who needs to hear it too. And if you haven't yet, hit follow so that you don't miss what's coming up next. We're just getting started. Until next time, keep building with purpose because what you're doing matters more than you think.
Thank you for spending these intentional moments with us today. Join our intentionalist community for purposeful business, spiritual, and life experience. As an international author, business strategist, and life coach, I've discovered the power of living with intention. Through my series of books on intentionality, I've shared insights on how to blend passion, power, and purpose to craft a life that not only enriches you, but also elevates those around you. Remember, being intentional is your God-given right to live a successful, rewarding, and prosperous life.